you or two of you, can you just put yes or audible in the question section so that I'll know I'm audible and I'll continue with the session. I just want to know if I'm audible or not. So one hand is raised, but I just want to see a confirmation in the question section. Yeah, thank you, Manoj. Okay, all right, so I'm audible, so I'll just continue with the session. All right, thanks, Bharat, as well. Okay, so this session is going to be taken by two people. One is me. I'll be handling the part where I'll be explaining about the services, explaining about the certification, and then my colleague will be joining, who's a senior course advisor, who will be talking more about the training, the career guidance, that is how you can shift from one role to another role. If you're in a different role, how to get into Azure developer, or how to become an Azure architect, or whatever Azure role you want to become. All right. So if you have any career related or training related questions, you can ask my colleague once I complete my part of the session. But if you have any technical questions, that is about certain services, will this service be covered in Azure Developer, or what does this service do? So if you have any technical questions, technical related questions, you can ask me, I would answer that. All right. So now we'll have the question part at the end. First, let me complete whatever I want to talk about. And once I complete, you can keep putting the questions in the question section whenever you have a doubt. So once I complete everything, I'll come back to the questions and I'll just check in and answer everything. All right. So now, okay, so this is the agenda. So mainly, I'll just brush up this why and what. And once I brush up this, I'll straight away go into the certification, and then I'll go into the services part. What are the services which will be covered in the developer certification, and what are the services you should know which will make you a better Azure developer? All right. Okay. So now, why Azure? First, Azure spends a lot in research and development. So this is just for security, that is making sure Azure is secure. And if you are Azure's customer as an individual or as a company, you would know that Azure is spending a lot of money and have more 3,500 plus security experts who keep the data center secure. And then one more reason is that they provide 100 plus services and they keep increasing the number of services every year, so that you don't have to learn all the services. You'll just have to learn the services which are required for you to learn. For example, if you are from the big data domain, you will just have to learn the services which are related to big data if you want to use big data services in your company from Azure. For example, you could use your data factory. You could use the SQL databases, the NoSQL databases, that is Cosmos DB. So these types of services you can learn. So I'm just giving you an example. You don't have to learn all the services. You will have to learn the services according to the niche, or according to the job role you're going to get into, or according to the requirement your company is asking for. And one more reason is that if you want to get into a Fortune 500 company as an employee, in that case, learning Azure will be of great help, because as given here, 95% of Fortune 500 companies use Azure for their business needs. All right, so these are some numbers which I wanted to share with you. To show you on why I choose Azure. And one more thing is that you can start free with Azure. You can create in a month for any other $100 credit. All right. If you're from US, or if you're from any other country, it will be an equivalent of $100 credit. Yeah, so you'll be getting this for 30 days. All right. And in that 30 days, you can experiment any Azure services you want, and it will be automatically detected from the credit which is provided. So once the 30 days is done, then you'll get 12 months of free services. Not all services, but limited services. And there are always free services in Azure. But again, always free in the sense you cannot do every single thing. So even there, they would have provided, they would provide you a free tier limit. That is, you can choose one option. For example, let's say you're creating a server. So if you're creating a server, you will get one option. That is, you can have 1 GB of RAM and one core CPU. If you go more than that, you will get billed. So basically, there will be limits. But again, those services in those limits are free. So you can easily start with Azure and with a free account at the beginning. All right. And one more thing is that the growth rate of Azure, as you can see from this, uh, sorry, as you can see from this, uh, what is this? Yeah, so from this image, you can see that growth rate of Azure is more than AWS. So GCP is a little high because they're in the growth stage, and companies who already use Google are moving into GCP. And Azure is also competing to get into the #1 spot. But Azure is the fastest growing cloud right now in 2021. All right, so this is 2019 data from 2018 to 2019, but in 2021, it's the #1 fastest growing. It is not the #1 cloud provider, it's the fastest growing cloud provider. That is one more reason. And the final reason is that you get paid a pretty good amount if you are an Azure developer. So this is one of the things everybody looks into. Whatever job you're going to get into, you're going to look at the average salary. So I just wanted to give you a heads up rather than letting you search about it. All right, so in US it's $107,000 per annum. In India it's 16 lakhs per annum. So this is the sorry, it's LPA slash annum. Sorry, there's a typo. It's just annum or LPA. All right. So basically, I wanted to tell here is that this is the average salary. It's not the highest. It's not the lowest. You can start as you can start at 10 LPA or 12 LPA according to the experience you have as a developer, and also it can go up to 30 to 35 lakhs per annum according to the experience you get. All right. So this is the why part. What again, it will be the same thing. Azure is a major cloud provider, and Azure provides variety of services that you can learn just with an internet connection and a PC. You don't need anything extra. You don't need a high spec system. You just need a normal laptop with proper internet connection, because you're not going to run anything on your PC. You're not going to run any software. It's not going to be what is that, CPU intensive. There is nothing. You just have to open your browser, open the console of Azure, and you start working with it. All right. But in developers case, it will be mostly you'll be using the command line interface, which is again available in Azure, or you'll be using PowerShell. But to start with, to practice, to learn Azure, it is better to learn with the console at the start, and then moving on to the command line later. All right. So all right. So that is the what and what. Sorry, that's the why and what. Now let's look at the certification, and let's look at how Azure developer's career is basically how you can become an Azure developer. All right. So one thing is that many companies prefer and ask for an Azure certification. So one thing I would suggest is taking up the Azure Associate certification, which is Azure Developer Associate. So you can take this certification, and you'll have to clear one exam, that is AZ-204. All right. So if you clear this exam, you'll be provided with the certification, and you will be provided this badge, which you can add in your LinkedIn profile. You can add it in your resume. All right. So this is the certification which you can take up. So now, how much does the certification cost? So to take up the certification, the cost will vary according to the country. You can go to the main official Azure certification site, and over there you can go to AZ-204. You can just type in AZ-204 in Google. You will get that page. Over there, you can put in your respective country. So here I've given three examples. United States 165 USD, India it's 4,800 INR, Sri Lanka it's 80 USD. So it totally varies according to the country you are in, and according to that you will have to take up the price for this is for the exam. That is, you pay Azure, you pay Microsoft to schedule the exam. All right. Okay. So now this is the basic info about the certification, which is preferred in many companies. All right. So now coming to the next one, which is who is an Azure developer. Okay. So let me tell you this. So if you don't want to associate yourself with programming, in that case, Azure developer would not be the right Azure course for you. Sorry, right Azure certification for you, or the right Azure role for you. You can take, if you don't want to associate yourself with programming, or if you do not know programming, in that case I would suggest Azure admin, Azure administrator. That particular role will be helpful for you, because that doesn't require any programming or coding. All right. So, and again, if you just know one programming language, and if you're okay with it, in that case, again, you're not, I won't suggest you as your developer role. You can go ahead with the Azure architect role, which demands more on the architectural side and demands less on the programming side. All right. So these two are the other roles. Now coming to Azure developer. So in this case, you should be really good in developing applications. It can be mobile applications, it can be web applications, whatever it is, it doesn't matter. It depends on the company you're going to work for. Some companies might ask you to be an Azure developer, but you'll be developing applications for Android or iOS. Some companies might ask you to develop on web applications. Some might ask you to develop internal organization-based applications. So it completely varies, but your main role would be creating applications and also making sure that application is compatible enough so that you can basically deploy it into Azure. All right. So the application should the application code should have this. There is something called SDKs, which is software development kits. So Azure provides you software development kits for various languages. So they have an SDK for Java, they have one for Python, they have one for PHP. So whatever language you're using to program your application in, you will have to use the SDK, and you will have to embed the SDKs with your application code. All right. So with the application code, it will be compatible right now with your Azure services. So you should also be able to create architectures in Azure. You should be able to uh, use the developer services provided in Azure, and also you should be able to what is that? Create applications. So one, from the name itself, you can take it developer. All right. So developer part, you should be a developer. You should have, you should know how to create applications using various languages, or one particular language, one particular stack. It can be any stack. It can be web development. It can be React. It can be Mern stack. It can be any stack, whatever you want. It can be just Java. Doesn't matter. But you'll have to be a developer, and then you will have to be an expert in Azure services as well. Especially, you'll have to be an expert in development services in Azure. That is, you should know how to work with the Azure command line interface. You should know how to work with the Azure SDKs, and you should know how to basically make sure your code is compatible with the Azure environment, right? Okay, so this is basically who's an Azure developer. Now let's take a look at two different job descriptions, which will give you a better insight on the role. Okay, so one is from IBM and one is from Cognizant. So as I told you, most job descriptions or most roles in the Azure developer particular category will be on the experience side. Very few will be on the junior developer, junior Azure developer, or a less experienced side. All right, most will ask you for experience in Azure development. Yeah, so in Azure development. So if you look here, they're asking you for 3 years of experience in Azure development, but again, this is a role which is basically asking for an expert in Azure development. So this is one of the examples. And in this case, they're not asking for any Azure development experience, but they're asking for developing BI or data warehousing applications in Microsoft Azure platform. That is, you can work with a team, in which case you are creating the applications itself, but the team is basically handling the architecture part. Okay, so that can vary, but the main part here is we'll have to look into the relevant experience. Here they're asking for web development on .NET, on ASP.NET, and they're asking for Node.js, Mern stack, AngularJS, or React.js. So in this case, it is completely web development. All right, so you should be an expert in web development, and also you should know other stuff, basically what a developer knows, SQL, how to connect your application to a database, how to connect, how to write backend code. What else? So this is again, so this is stakeholders. So basically, you should know how to problem solve. You should know how to debug. So this is again, these are basic stuff requirements. These four are the main. So one, you should have development experience. You should have basic SQL and database knowledge, and you should have experience of working on Azure. But Sometimes you might not have work experience on Azure. You might be a really good developer, but you would have not worked with Azure. Uh, you would have not worked with Azure, all right? In that case, you would have to basically train yourself or upskill yourself in that particular domain or in that particular area. Or you might be a really good Azure architect. You might know how to architect everything in Azure, but you might not be a really good programmer. In that case, again, you should upskill in that particular aspect. Now, coming to this particular job description, so that is more of a web application one. This is more of a BI and data warehousing application one. In this case, they're asking you to know certain services in Azure itself, which will be helpful for creating data warehouses. It will be helpful for creating complete data pipelines. All right, so they're asking you to know storage services. They're asking you to know data factory, SQL, Event Hub. They're asking you to know certain so HT Insight is a service in Azure which will let you use Hadoop, Spark, Hive, HBase. So these are some Apache services or Databricks. So you can know HD Insight or you can know Databricks. And what else? Yeah, so in this case, you can see these two job descriptions are completely different, but both the roles are application developer in Microsoft Cloud. In this case, it is Azure Developer. So both are similar job descriptions in terms of the job role, but when you look at the job description, is completely different. So what I'm saying right now is what I wanted to convey here is that you should be skilled in your particular expertise, and you should search and filter out relevant job descriptions. If you're a web dev and if you want to get into Azure development, you should search for Azure developer roles which are asking for web dev and Azure development. I think this point got you clear. All right. Okay, so finally, I just have one last thing to complete, and I'll answer a few of your questions, and then I'll proceed and give my session to my colleague. All right. Okay. So now I just wanted to introduce the services which will be covered, which you will have to know as a Azure developer, and also services which will be asked in the AZ204 exam. Okay, so now let me just talk about the core services. Core services are the basic services for any certification you take up. These services will be available there. So one would be storage services. All right, one would be networking services. So whichever is in the yellow box, networking services are required for every single certification, because without a network, you cannot have any architecture. All right, so everything is in every resource, every server, every database server, everything will be inside a network. So without a network, you cannot have any resources running. So in that case, network is important. And then storage services, yes, as a developer, you would require storage services, all right? You will be able, so for example, your application might need a storage container where you upload all the images which is getting uploaded. You might be uploading all videos, or you want to basically upload an image and copy that metadata into an SQL database. Again, SQL database is also a core service. And the most important core service is virtual machines and containers, because as a developer, you will be deploying your application and you can deploy it to a virtual machine directly, or you will have to know containers, that is container services. You should know Docker. You should know, so if it doesn't matter, companies might ask you to know containers. So if they ask you to know, in that case, you will have to know containers as well. Yeah, so in that case, these are the core services, that is compute, storage, networking, and data. So now coming to other relevant services. So portal is basically the main website. Active Directory is for creating what is that, a user base. You can have an Active Directory for your complete team, development team. So it still goes further, that we'll see later. And then web and mobile, that is, for example, if you don't want to set up everything in your virtual machine and then deploy your application, you can straight up launch a web application or an there is something called app service. You can create an app service and directly upload your code. It will automatically host your website for you. All right, so these are some of the applications which you should know. And hybrid operations, that is backup. You should know how to migrate, how to recover your site if everything is lost. You should have a failover or a backup plan. That is, if your application which is running, right? So let's say if your application goes down, you should have an replicated architecture in another region or in another availability zone, which is running again, and you can basically shift the traffic from this particular domain to this particular server fleet to that server fleet. All right, so these are the services which you'll have to know. Got it. So now, finally, I just wanted to give you a heads up. That is, if you want to start with your career, so I would suggest you are in the right place because you are already looking for things to know more about the Azure developer role. All right, so you can check out Intellipaat blog, where we provide all sorts of content where you can start reading. And then there is our YouTube channel. Again, we provide free content over there without ads. You can go check it out. You can learn about Azure and Azure development. So now, that's it I wanted to talk about. Now I will so right now, guys, if you have any questions, please put up in the question section. I'll be answering them for the next 4 to 5 minutes, and then I'll be handing over my session to my colleague. So if you have any questions on the services, if you have any questions about the certification, anything you can put right now, I'll be answering them. So I'll answer a few of the common questions which people will have while all right. So one question will be that will our training, so one question is that will our training cover these services? Will our training will help you to become a better developer and also a better Azure architect? Yes, that will be covered later in the session by my colleague. All right. So we will be teaching you, we'll be providing you programming languages as well, so you can become a good programmer as well as you can become a great Azure architect. Um, I hope I'm audible to everyone. So if anybody else has any questions regarding the session, so feel free to ask right now because you are in the session. This is the right time to ask it. If you have anything, just put down in the question section. All right. Okay, so there is a question here from Irvin. Okay, how much advantage is there in expanding the Microsoft stack into Azure rather than AWS or other cloud? All right, so this is a really good question. So if you talk about Microsoft stack, I think you're talking about .NET and native integration. So Azure has native integration. That is, if you are working with the Visual Studio IDE, well, right? If you're coding, if you're programming using C# or any .NET framework languages, in Visual Studio, you have an option to directly connect your Azure account. And right there, you can see the servers running. Right there, you can see the app services running. All right. So you can directly click on the server which you want to publish to, which you want to deploy to, and you can directly publish your code right from the IDE you are working on into the Azure environment. So this is the advantage Azure has for native integration or Microsoft stack over AWS or other cloud providers. All right, so this is the answer for your question, Irvin. I hope I answered it. All right, I hope I answered it. Okay, so there are two questions from Jairaj. Am I able to pursue as Azure developer if I'm from SSIS and SQL Server developer? Am I able to pursue? Yes, if you are from any technical background, it can be databases, it can be development, it can be anything, you can still pursue Azure developer. So my colleague will be talking more about this, so please stay tuned. All right, I'll just leave this question right here. Okay, so there's one question from Pravin. What is Microsoft Azure PaaS skill? So PaaS basically means platform as a service, and PaaS basically is, as I was talking about, a service called Azure App Service. So Azure App Service is a platform as a service. Let me tell you what exactly it does. It will provide you a platform where you can choose the runtime you want to choose. For example, let's say you are building an application using Python and you don't want to set up a server completely. That is, let's say if you launch a server, you will have to then install Python, you will have to download all the dependencies and then run the application inside the server, only then it will work. But let's say you don't want to do any of that. You just want to spin up, you just want to create an application, you just want to choose the runtime as Python, and you want to put your code directly, and you want that to be hosted as a website. So in that case, Azure provides you something called App Service, and App Service will provide you a platform where you can directly provide all this information upload your code, and it will automatically host it for you. All right. So PaaS is basically platform as a service. You'll get a platform rather than infrastructure access. That is, you won't handle all the infrastructure. You'll only handle the code part. Infrastructure will be handled by Microsoft. Okay, so I have one last question which I'll be answering now, and I'll be moving forward. This session I'll be moving forward to my colleague. Right. So this is again from Urban. So it's integrated with Visual Studio where AWS would not be. Exactly. So it has a published to Azure option. So AWS can't. So AWS is again. I know I've used AWS and Azure more, but for native integration, Azure is better. But other than that, I usually use AWS for my work because my work asks me to use AWS. But again, in this case, Azure for native integration is the perfect option. All right, guys. So thank you so much for attending this session. Now I'll be stopping my part of the session, and the career advisor, the course advisor Sati, will be joining right now. So I hope you will learn more in this session. Thank you.
Hello all. I hope everyone can able to hear me. I hope I'm audible to
Yeah,
everyone. Yeah. Thanks a lot for the insightful session. All right. Very good evening to one and all present here. My sincere thanks to each and every one of the participant for spending your valuable time and just to hear what are the thoughts that we share pertaining to the technology of Azure. And adding to it, it really shows your immense interest pertaining to this Azure technology, which you are highly inclined with. All right. And adding to it, let me introduce myself. I'm Satash. I'm the senior mentor with Intellipaat, holding more than a decade and a year of experience into the field of educational consulting, where I have mentored more than 2K plus students or the professionals, guiding them on the right career path or right learning path, what they would be the best option for them in reaching their career goals. So today I could see there were various questions that were put forth to the presenter, right? And so I'm more glad to answer each and every question, okay? But that's going to be at the end of the session. And I would also like to welcome more and more questions. So as a senior mentor or the course advisor, I can able to give you a better insights and clarity on how your career goals should be. Right, basically I'm a counselor by profession also. Okay, I like education consulting. I offering mentoring. I'd like to offer mentoring training on choosing the right career path, right learning path. Okay, what would be the right options with reference to prevailing market, okay, with reference to the prevailing IT market standards, okay, depending upon your goals. I'm more glad to provide you one-on-one career counseling also. All right, it's a free counseling which I can able to offer it to. All right, so post this session, I'll be sharing my contact info to each and everyone where they can share, where they can reach out to me directly if they require any assistance in terms of counseling or anything. Yeah, fine. All right, okay. Yeah, one second. All right, okay guys. So guys, the first thing which I wanted to give you as a primary solution is, okay, pertaining to Azure Developer is, once you reach a site intellipaats.com, you can just type Azure, A-Z-U-R-E, Azure, right? You can see various options pertaining to Azure, all right? You can see the third option, I'm sorry, the fourth option, Microsoft Azure Developer Certification Associate AZ204 course. Right, so this would be the primary solution what I would ideally recommend for any professionals who wanted to maintain their legacy as a developer and who wants to do the developing jobs in cloud, in native cloud like Microsoft Azure. Then they can consider this course, which is called as the Microsoft Azure Developer Certification Associate AZ204. All right, so this is the program which is completely inclined and designed in collaboration with Microsoft. And on top of it, the program is meant for you to crack the Azure Developer Associate AZ204 exam, okay, offered by Microsoft. And this program comes up with a complete, crispy, and relevant hands-on experience, case studies, where you can understand how the Fortune 500 MNCs are handling the real-time challenges in Azure development, and also the some real-time hands-on experiences in terms of real-time projects to make your hands dirty. And you'll also be learning about how to develop and implement the Azure cloud technology solutions using services. Like for an instance, if you wanted me to note or quote a few, it's cloud storage services and security service, platform as a service, and cognitive services too. All right. And on taking up this program, since Intellipaat is a global authorized learning partner network for Microsoft, each and every learner is entitled to get the Microsoft course materials for developing Microsoft Azure and Web Services course materials, which would be having a huge market demand and which is having a huge high meaty requirement in the Azure projects today. All right. Okay. And on top of it, let me just take you through the program curriculum. Okay. If you click on the curriculum tab, okay, you can able to see the various program content or the curriculum, what the Microsoft SMEs are going to cover it for you in this course. Trust me, guys, this is completely a practical program. Okay, no theoretical. And this is a program which I would strongly recommend for any professionals who wants to see themselves as in a developer role in pertaining to Microsoft Azure technology, number one. And if anyone is looking out for a complete career transition into Microsoft Azure technology, okay, this option would be the most vital option. They can consider it. Or if someone is having a career aspiration to be a developer, being a fresher, they can also consider this option as well. But depending upon the roles and depending upon the experience each and every person holds, okay, depending upon the experience they hold, depending upon the roles they are going to get placed precisely. For example, if a fresher is going to take up this program, he cannot expect to go and work as we cannot expect him to go on to work as a senior developer, but you would be getting a role as a software engineer or as a developer associate. Okay. And if a mid-career professional with 3 to 5 years of experience wants to take up this program, obviously you'll be considered for a good meaty level role as Azure developer. All right. Okay. And this is how the job openings also, which we are going to talk a lot about at the end of the session, guys. So on taking up this course content, first of all, okay, it's about managing Azure subscription and resources, which is highly mandate for you in order to be in the development part. And you can see the detailed metrics or detailed content that is going to be covered. And then you're learning about implementing and managing storage. You're going to learn about deploying and managing the virtual machines. And next, you're going to learn about configuring and managing the virtual networks. You'll also be going to learn about how to develop infrastructure as a solution service, infrastructure as a service solutions, and developing Azure platform as a service solutions, and Azure storage, implementing the security, and monitoring and troubleshooting the solutions, and connecting and consuming the Azure third-party services. Guys, trust me, guys, this is completely, it's going to be a practical program, and where 80% of the mentorship lay over only on the practical aspects precisely. And you'll be working on numerous hands-on exercises, assignments, and industrial capstone project also. All right, which plays a vital meaty role in order to authenticate your profile as an authentic Azure developer. All right, and as I studied before, if you could see on scrolling up, you can see the course features, which I'm going to take you through it. Okay, and on top of it, if you could see, these are some of the skill sets that you'll be procuring it on taking up as a takeaway from this program, where you'll be learning about creating Azure app services and web application infrastructure as a service and platform as a service, and monitoring and optimizing the Azure solutions and deploying the API gateways and third-party services also. All right, and on top of it, you'll also be learning about if you could also see yeah, one second. Yeah. So, and as considered the prerequisites, there are no any prerequisites, but basic knowledge of programming will be good. We do understand it. That's why we are going to commence the sessions with Phoenix for all the learners, all right, to get better clarity. Okay. And why Microsoft Azure Developer is with ever-changing job market requirements today, all right, as the cultural shift is happening towards as 95% of the MNCs prefer Azure migration today, right? Being a developer will be acting as a strong pivot or ladder for you to reach your career goals if you want to excel yourself in the world of development. All right, guys. Okay, and on other important key information is, okay, this is Azure is one of the top cloud computing platforms and storage platforms. All right, and adding to it, you can easily crack AZ204 exam because this program is highly inclined towards that as well. All right, let me just on talking about the key features, guys. So this is one of the prestigious and comprehensive program offered in collaboration with Microsoft. You will be recognized by Microsoft through a course completion certificate stating that you are Azure Developer Associate. And as a part of this training program, guys, you will be possessing 28 hours of instructor-led interactive live online classroom training with a lot of practical exposure, which is waiting for you to make your hands dirty. And on top of it, the program duration is ideally just gonna be maximum 5 weekends, guys. Okay, and we do have a weekend batch as well as a weekday batch, depending upon the flexibility or the learner can choose depending upon his work commitments or her work commitments, right? The program duration is completely going to be for 5 weekends, and the session recordings would also be added to your LMS within 12 to 24 hours for a futuristic reference purpose, which is also lifetime accessible. And you'll be getting the course materials of 22 hours pertaining to this exact curriculum, whatever we saw. All right, which will be which is lifetime free accessible and lifetime free upgradable. And you're going to work on, as I said before, numerous hands-on exercises, assignments as well. Predominantly a top-notch, completely focus would be on the 50 hours of project work and assignments, guys. So you'll be focused a lot. We'll be making your hands dirty, and we'll be making you completely industry fit or job fit in terms of suiting your project requirements. So we'll be making you to work only on the practical aspects, guys. So what we do is you're going to work on multiple numerous hands-on exercises, assignments, and we make you to work on 50 hours of project works and exercises. And this comes up with a flexible schedule model as well, where you have the flexibility to attend as many batches or as many classes as you want throughout your life as well. So even after on taking up the program in the intermediate, if you happen to miss out the sessions or skip the sessions, anyway, you have the live session access, live session recordings access, and the course materials handy. Or if not, what you can do is you can make we give you the flexibility to attend as many batches or as many classes as you want throughout your life also, right? And apart from the session hours, we have 24/7 free lifetime support and access. And in terms of certification, upon completion of the certification assignments in the program, this is the certificate what each and every learner is entitled to get, guys. So you'll be recognized by Microsoft directly as a certificate of achievement, mentioning that you are completed the Azure Developer Associate program. And once again, I'm reiterating, guys, okay, this course is designed for you to clear the Microsoft AZ-204 exam, right? Okay, fine. So this is all about the program, guys. And adding to it, and adding to it, let me just open the question. And yes, okay. So this is a primary solution which I wanted to showcase it to you. And on top of it, I also like to give you another option for an aspiring professional if they want to see themselves in a business leader kind of role pertaining to Azure in a meeting role. Yes, we do have a other secondary level solution which we can able to offer it to all the aspiring learners of Azure. It's called as the Microsoft Azure Certification Masters Training. So what's the difference, right? What is Azure Developer? What is Azure Masters? Yeah, Azure Developer is a subset of this Azure Masters, because this program comprises of 8 topics with 15 projects and 25 plus case studies, 1 industrial capstone from Microsoft, and also with guaranteed assured interview calls, guys. So let me just brief you through this program curriculum. And this program is completely meant for any professionals, okay, who wants to be an expert in the Azure technologies or who wants to see themselves in a much more meaty roles. Like, for example, lead or senior lead or tech lead or a senior consultant or a consultant or a manager or something like a leader kind of role, where they have the accountability to build a team in terms of migration of Azure, in terms of acting as a strong pivot or ladder, or if there someone is in a more prominent position to what way they are directly answerable to the end users in terms of Azure. If they want to have a complete clarity, obviously this would be the right and best option for anyone who wants to see themselves in the field of Azure, guys, right? So this is also completely a practical program. On taking you through the program, you can also see, let me just take you through the program. Yeah, all right. So this is a program which is also offered in collaboration with Microsoft. As I said before, we are the authentic global authorized learning partner for Microsoft as well. And this program covers all the individual constituents in Microsoft technologies, like starting with Azure 104, Azure Administration, Azure 204, Azure Developer, Azure 303 and 304, Solution Architect and Architecture Design. And this program also covers AZ400, Azure DevOps, and DP203, that is performing big data engineering in Azure Cloud, which is more and more comprehensive and which is more and more valued skill sets today. Okay, and And is there any prerequisites for this course? Nothing to worry, guys. All the Intellipaat courses, there is no prerequisites because our SMEs have designed the program structure and curriculum in such a manner that everyone can able to take up the program, because we are going to teach and mentor and train the candidates on the things from the scratch, guys. All right. And adding to it, who are the right target audience? Yes, as I said before, professional aspiring to be Azure professionals, graduates who wish to acquire skills in cloud-based technologies, programmers, solution architects aiming to build a career in SaaS, infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, and SaaS as well, and system administrators and network administrators, guys. And these are some of the roles that anyone can aspire to get placed on completion of this program. You can see Azure Cloud Solution Architect, Infrastructure Architect, Azure Cloud Migration Architect, Azure Specialist. So these are some of the most meaty roles where you can get placed on successfully taking up this program and excelling yourself. And you can also see some of the greatest skill sets that you will be possessing, which will be close to 15 to 16 more rare and deadliest and more prospective skill sets that anyone can acquire on taking up this program, guys. So if you could see, this would be which where you'll be learning about each and everything in a much more clarity manner. And you can also see the tools, as I said before, Azure DevOps, Azure Data Factory, and Linux, guys. And my strong suggestion is, if anyone is completely looking out for a career transition into Azure Cloud, obviously they can consider this program. Okay, but this program is completely designed in a more and more structured manner that your work commitments will not get spoiled. And on top of it, everything is going to be taught to you from the scratch in a much more clarity manner. And also on top of it, adding to feather to the cap, this program comes up with guaranteed interviews for meaty roles in Azure. So taking you through the curriculum, this program comprises of Azure 104 and Azure 204, Azure 303, 304, Azure DevOps, Azure Data Factory, and Linux Cloud Computing and Azure Fundamentals comes as complementary. So on taking you through this, if you could see, this program is a bit more comprehensive, all right? And Azure Developer is the subset of this program precisely. So if anyone is looking out for much more meaty role, obviously they can consider this program as well. And as I said before, offering services precisely remains the same. Only the duration, cost, and the hands-on experience level varies completely. All right. Okay. And in order to give you a much more better clarity, okay, so this program totally comprises of 205 hours of instructor-led live online classroom training. As I said before, same lifetime access to the live session recordings with you can attend the flexibility schedule is there, where you can attend as many batches as you want throughout your life. And 199 hours of high-quality e-learning video tutorials prepared by the SMEs, okay, which is lifetime free accessible and lifetime free upgradable, and mentorship of around 70 to 80% practical mentorship, where you'll be having a platform to work on 15 to 20 real-time projects with 20 plus case studies to make you a hands dirty in order to be an authentic Azure expert, and precisely adding an icing on top of the cake. You'd also be getting industrial capstone project once you complete this 15 plus real time. So there's an option to choose an industry depending upon your area of liking, so that our academics team or the mentoring team can go ahead and give you the industrial capstone project depending upon the industry you choose, where you can be a solution provider to the corresponding tech entity. This will mold you or profile as an authentic Azure expert or an Azure architect. And on top of it, you're also going to be certified as an Azure architect by Microsoft as a career outcome of this program and successfully completion of this program. And you can see the certifications, and as I said it before, this program is completely meant for you to crack all the external certifications of Microsoft Azure. All right, and what stands out on this program is career services, guys. So Intellipaat's award-winning career services plays a vital role for any person to acting as a ladder to reach their meaty roles with a meaty job. And trust me, guys, okay, the average hike that you can expect on successfully completion of this program is close to 55%, guys. So for your trust, you can see the average hike what our learners have got on this successfully on completion of this program. And on top of it, you can also see some successful career transition profiles as well. You can click on this arrow, you can see various career transition profiles and adding to how they have done a successful career transition. And below on top of it, you can see career transition handbook, where we have kept it for our visitors notice, so that they can make use of it, of this resource, right? So with reference to career services, one-on-one career mentorship session, interview discussion, profile building, resume, LinkedIn profile preparation, and exclusive access to Intellipaat job portal access will be given, where you are eligible to apply for jobs at free of cost as well. And on top of it, we also help you with the interview preparation, which is mentioned in the career services. We also conduct some 2 to 3 mock interviews for your clarity on how you can prepare yourself to crack the interviews in a much more optimistic manner, attracting the clients. And on top of it, we also give you an authentic career mentorship on how you should plan your career in Microsoft Azure technologies in terms of your career graph or the geography that you can look forward to work in the upcoming near future as well. So guys, this is the thing which I wanted to share it with you. And let me just see the questions. Okay. Yeah, let me just see the questions what our participants have asked, so it'll be easy for me to answer. All right. Yeah. All right. Okay. All right. A question from Irvin Watkins. So how much advantage is there in expanding the Microsoft stack to include Azure rather than AWS or other cloud? All right. So obviously the advantage is high than compared with AWS, which I would strongly recommend. All right. And since today, with reference to ever-changing global market requirements, obviously, since majority of the MNCs are migrating towards Azure, this will be the best option. And that's why the Microsoft has come up with more flexible options for the enterprises to meet their project or enterprise or business goals as well. Right. And adding to it, fine. Yeah. So what is the Microsoft Azure platform as a service skill? I guess my previous trainer would have clarified that, Praveen. Okay. If not, you can just, I'll just share my contact info. We can just have a discussion on it. And adding to it, Mr. Jairaj D has requested, if I'm a SQL Server developer, I'm able to pursue an Azure developer. Yes, 200% Jairaj. Okay, for sure, you can able to pursue this program. All right, and for sure there is no prerequisites to take up this program. Obviously you are 100% eligible to take up this program and expand your profile horizons more into development sector, no doubts on it. All right. Yeah, so okay, fine. So all right, next question is, right, all right. Okay. Ask requested by Kushal Singh. Okay. See, we provide trainers. Okay. At the end of the day, since we have learners from diverse nationalities, we always follow. Okay. We always follow English as our premium communication language, so it can be answered by everyone. But not to worry. Okay. We, apart from the sessioners, we also have a doubt clarification facilities, and the trainers English would be something in a basic. And adding to it in a decent level English where each and everyone can able to easily understand it. Kushal, I'm 200% sure that you will not be having any issues in understanding the things, right? And it will be completely going to be in a professional English as well. All right. And I have another question. Okay. Another question from one of the participant about, all right. Okay. So yeah, I'm 18 years experienced professional now. All right. So would that be helpful for me to do a transition into Azure? Yes, for sure. Okay. Irrespective of the experience that you are carrying forward, for sure, this program would be helpful for you to suffice your career goals. Because the biggest challenge, what I'm telling you, okay, being an 18 years experienced professional in the administration sector, okay, when you're making a transition to a new technology, the biggest challenge that each and everyone is going to face is the number of you're going to go and work as a team with the participants or with the new team members who are already there in the same technology for 5 to 6 years. So you have to be competitive in terms of the knowledge, and you should also be competitive in terms of the skill sets and how good you are a creative problem solver with the bottom focus on bottom solving results. I'm sorry, bottom focused results, creative thinker focusing on bottom line results. So that's really mandate, and you should also be very clear on what you can able to get to the client's plates. That really matters a lot, guys, because today that is the skill set what majority of the senior level professions lack today. Okay, it's not only about technical and highly academic technical rigor is going to help you to reach your goals, unless if you don't know the right problem solving approach. Okay, the entire knowledge whatever you have gained goes on vain. So that's why we makes your hands dirty through a lot of intense hands-ons, as well as the global business case study exposure from different diverse industries like manufacturing or product or a service or e-commerce or supply chain or healthcare or retail, or also on terms of media or entertainment industry, guys. So diverse industrial exposure will be molding you to be an expert in the corresponding technology as well, so that this will mold you as a creative problem solver focusing on bottom line results, guys. All right. Okay. So yes. All right. Okay. So I have other question from one of our participant. Right. Okay. Yes. All right. Okay. So I'm a 4 years experienced developer. Okay. Would I be eligible to work as an architect? All right. So guys, this is a good question. See, if you could see, being a 4 years experienced professional in the development sector, it completely depends on where and how your career goal is. All right. First of all, always I'd like to everyone to remember one thing. Everyone in this world has a place in the IT industry, right? Irrespective whether you are a fresher or a beginner or a mid-level professional or a complete up professional or a career expert, okay, or a pro, etc. Everyone has a place in the IT industry. Even if you're from a non-IT, you have a place secured in the IT industry. So if you wanted to have a commencement in your IT career, you can go with the first option. I would say Microsoft Azure Developer. But on the other hand, if you're looking out for much more meaty roles, I'm 200% sure you have to consider only this Azure Masters. And being logical, being a 4 years experienced professional, why should the company hire you, giving you a 40 or 50% hike when they already have a beginner who's ready to work as a developer? I hope you got it right. So you should possess multiple skill sets. More the skill sets you have, more the meaty roles that you're going to get, these guys. I hope I have resolved your question. Yeah. All right. Okay. Yeah. So, guys, and on top of it, yeah, let me just take you through the pricing fee, guys. Okay. So my name is Satish. Okay. So this is my contact number 9600540121. This is my direct mobile number. You can reach me anytime. And this is my WhatsApp number, which you can make a note of it. Okay. And you can ping me anytime, 24/7. I'll be available. I'm the senior manager as well as a senior mentor as well over here with Intellipaat. And adding to it, I'm more glad to reach out to me if case of any career assistance in terms of confusion between choosing the right options. You can more make use of it. Okay, I'm more glad to assist you guys. I'm just sharing all my info here for everyone's knowledge. Okay, and guys, I hope with this sessions, I hope everyone would have got a clarity on the Azure related certifications. And guys, for the well esteemed participants of this webinar, okay, for the especially for the professionals or the participants who are willing to avail this course within tonight, we have an exceptional offer as well. So for the professionals who wants to take up that or considering Azure Developer course, I am having through 3 coupons for the upcoming batch with flat 30% discount, where your complete savings are going to be approximately close to 9,000 rupees you're going to save on the total course fee. So, and the final course fee is going to be just approximately close to 19K all inclusive for Azure Developer if you are enrolling before tonight 12. Right? And for professionals who are willing to consider Azure Masters, I have 50% worth discount 3 coupons left with me, okay, which I can able to offer it only for the participants who are in this webinar. All right, and the program fee is going to be 55K plus taxes, comes to 64,900. Accounting 50% off, which comes to just 28K plus taxes, accountable to 32.5K, guys, which you can make use of it. And we have flexible EMI options also, which I can able to more glad to guide you over a personal private discussion. Right, I have mentioned my contact number, WhatsApp number, and adding to it, I have mentioned my email ID. You can directly reach out to me, guys, anytime. Okay, before 12 today, if anyone is willing to upskill themselves in the Azure technology or looking out for a right career guidance or career counseling or confusion between to choose the which would be the right technology that would be fitting their goals, completely I'm here as a one-stop solution provider to guide you on the right learning path or career path, guys. All right, so I hope, is there anything else which I have left to address it, or if I wanted to address it, please let me know, guys. I hope I have shared my contact info. You can directly reach out to me, guys, no problem on it. I'll be available. Any questions, guys? Yeah, I got a question from Chandra. All right. If I'm an Oracle SQL developer, would it be difficult to understand if I join Azure Master Program? Not at all. Not at all, Chandra. You won't be having any difficulty to. You'll not be facing the difficulty. Why? Because The program has been structured in such a manner that everything is going to be taught to you from the scratch, starting commencing from Azure administration, because we provide you the learning path as well on what would be the right learning path. As a senior mentor, I can personally give you the learning path which you have to focus being a developer. And on top of it, first of all, once you commence your learning for this Azure Masters, first we'll be giving you a complete detailed understanding on Linux for 1 or 2 weekends on the basic command structures. Then we'll help you to create your free Azure cloud account, and then we'll commence your learning with Azure administration first, okay, which would be going for 3 to 4 weekends. Then we'll be moving you to developer, Azure development part, so that it'll be an additive topping for you, so that you can get a complete better clarity as well. So on overall as an ideology, and trust me, Chandra, being a SQL developer, it's one of the more good meaty domain. Today 90% of the professionals who consider this program for Azure, or who are making a smoother career transition to Azure, consider this Azure Masters program. The exact career outcome for you would be completely lead or senior lead, or a completely advisory lead, or a management kind of roles in completely Azure, where you'll be a primary point of contact to the end user, offering solutions on the right project path that can be taken care in terms of Azure. All right, and you'll be having a good hold on the administration aspects, development aspects, and you can also advise the DevOps team on the right DevOps approach that a project has to take in terms of Azure project for the effective project requirements, guys. All right, fine, Chandra. I hope this would be easy for you to I hope I have answered your question, Chandra. If there is anything, you can just ask me again. All right. So Chandra, if you feel that you have not, if I have not clarified your queries or concerns to your satisfaction, you can always reach out to me. I have mentioned my contact info. I'll be available, and you can reach out to me. We can have a complete detailed discussion. And adding to it, I can also suggest you the best options in the career path, and with reference of placement records, and with reference to the companies who would be hiring you. Okay, what sort of industries you can focus, and what sort of geographies that you can focus. Also, I can give you much more better clarity as well. Right? Fine, guys. Any other questions, guys? I'm more eager to answer. Can I expect any other questions? I hope everyone has my contact info. All right, you can make use of it, and you can directly ping me over WhatsApp. We can have a discussion, guys. So it was pleasure conversing and meeting you all, and I could see a lot of Azure aspirants over here. I would like to see everyone as the students for Azure with Intellipaat. We are more glad to serve each and every one of you. I'd like to see everyone in a much more in a meaty role pertaining to Azure technology, guys. So anyway, I'll take a leave. Thanks a lot, guys. If there is anything in the final moments, if you wanted me to answer over here, I can answer it. Or if you feel some sort of career guidance or any sort of requirements in terms of right guidance or right things which has to be mentioned or sorted it out, you can just to let me know. All right, I'm more glad to answer that as well. Yeah, any other questions, please? I'll wait for another 2 to 3 more minutes, so that if anyone wants to ask any questions, you're more glad. All right, okay, fine. I hope everyone has my contact info. You can reach out to me directly, guys. Yeah, thank you. Thanks a lot for your valuable time, guys.